see if we can try and be there. Are we, Mike? You know what? Did I miss it on the agenda? Are we talking about the Hertz grade thing? No, right?
I don't think so. I think you guys, well,
Did we
you guys
approve one?
appointed Shelley.
Well, it looks like it's been fully appointed. It looks like she's made her selection,
Oh,
but I don't know that we put
I
on
guess
the
you're just,
agenda.
I guess you're just announcing one of these.
I don't know, I'm getting the only reader members get appointed by the TC today. But she's the one that makes the selection. Oh, this is, let me do that.
Okay. The way we were, it doesn't need TC action, so I guess.
I'll just roll.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Township Committee meeting. Wendy, would you like the opening?
Good evening. I hereby announce that pursuant to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided, and the notice was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and posted on the bulletin board in Township Hall, and filed in the Township Clerk's office on October 24th, 2022. Mayor Bontempo?
Here.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Here.
Mr. Foster?
Here.
Mr. Improviduto?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Anyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence to honor our troops both home and abroad who work tirelessly to protect us each and every day. Thank you. So good evening, everybody. We had a little lengthy executive session upstairs. I apologize for the delay. First item on the agenda is a special part of the year that I think we all look forward to. It's our Veteran of the Year award. We are very lucky to have such a engaged community. First, I'd like to thank everyone who submitted nominations for this year's Veteran of the Year. I'm very pleased to announce the recipient this year's Veteran of the Year award is presented to Lenny Sasso. So Lenny served in the United States Navy from 1970 to 1973, and then in the reserves from 1973 to 1976. Lenny joined the Holmdel Township Police Department in 1973 and was promoted to increasing levels of leadership, ultimately retiring as a lieutenant. Lenny has also served in this community, including as a member of the Holmdel Alliance for Drugs and Alcohol, as well as a member of the Holmdel Kiwanis Club for over 40 years. Lenny, on behalf of our Holmdel neighbors and a grateful nation, it's my honor to present you with the 2022 Holmdel Veteran of the Year Award. Lenny, please come on up. Yeah, I could say we've had, since we started this 3 years ago, right? We had, first it was former Mayor Art Davey was our first recipient. For about last year, Bob Manning and Ellen Sassos. I am blessed to have such great people involved in our community that do so much, not only helping protect our country and fight for our freedoms. We're able to have meetings like this here today, but stay involved in the community and do so much, which makes our community what it is and why it is so great, and why so many people want to be part of the Holmdel community. So thank you again, Lenny, for all you do. So the first motion is approval of minutes from the September 13th Executive and Public. Do I have a motion?
Move. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
I don't think,
Oh, Brian.
Brian, I don't think you were here.
I abstain.
Thank you. Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Okay. So the minutes from September 13th, 2022 have been successfully passed. Thank you.
So we have an addition to the consent agenda, Counselor?
Sure. A motion would be in order to amend the consent agenda to add a resolution 2022-284. It's a resolution regarding professional services contract with Government Strategy Group.
Do you have a motion?
Move.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
2022-284 has been added to the consent agenda.
Thank you. Any public comment on consent agenda tonight? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Ron Amma, 32 Ladwood Drive. Just a quick question on one of the bills payable. There's an expenditure for $392,000 for New Jersey fire equipment. I was just wondering what that was for, and also, that's an awful big amount of money to be slipped into the, or not slipped in, or put into the consent agenda. An item that large, shouldn't that be kind of like talked about prior to just putting it on the consent agenda? New Jersey fire equipment, public safety equipment, it says. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill, do you know what that's
I'm
specific?
not sure exactly what it is, but anything of that magnitude would have been approved to be purchased through a prior resolution. This is just the payment of it, so that the approval of the purchases was done prior.
So there's a payment of a prior purchase, correct, Bill? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this was awarded by the government. I don't know exactly what item it is. I could find out. If you want me to find out for you, I can get back to you on it.
So it had to be previously approved? Bill?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And there's the actual payment to the vendor?
The payment to the vendor says SCBA equipment. It's some sort of equipment for the fire department. It's probably back ordered, more than likely, from probably last year. I have to look it up, though.
Okay. Any other comment from the public on our consent agenda items 275 to 284? Yes.
Jenny Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. One question on consent agenda item 2077, where you were doing something with the national opioid settlement. Would that please be explained to me? I don't know what in the world that was all about. except
That
opioids.
that is a settlement that was given to almost every town. It's money that we can use for specific purposes. It's basically a grant.
A grant to do what?
It's got special restrictions. It's to help recovery for anybody that got addicted to opioids.
It would be nice if you put it in the newsletter so that we could understand what it was all about. And then my second question is, why was the meeting moved from Tuesday to tonight? And nobody knew about it until some of us knocked on the door and saw a sign on the door?
Wendy, you want to?
It was noticed in the paper, and it was put on the website, and it was also put on social media.
Yeah, but why?
TC member availability.
Such as?
No quorum.
No quorum. Well, you could have said that. Gee willikers.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public on any public comment on consent agenda items 275 through 284. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Do I have a motion for consent agenda 2022-275 through 2022-284?
Move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Impaviduto?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Resolutions 2022-275 to 2022-284 have been successfully approved.
Thank you, Wendy. Next is introduction of ordinances.
Next is introduction of ordinance 2022-30, which is an ordinance addressing maintenance of vacant and abandoned commercial properties. This motion is to adopt on first reading, publish in the Asbury Park Press, and set the public hearing for November 22nd, 2022.
This is an introduction. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Impaviduto?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Okay. 2022-30 will be set for public hearing on November 22nd, 2022.
Thank you, Wendy. Department updates, Administrator and CFO.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple items. The tax and pilot payments are due by Thursday, November 10th at 4:30. They can either be dropped off at Town Hall, you can do it online, or you can drop it off in the box in front of the building. The town continues to look for shared service with other communities. They're, like everybody else out there, we're getting hit with some, extraordinary bills. For 2023, for example, our health insurance costs are going up by 24%. Our public employees' retirement system is going up by 20%. Our police and firemen's retirement system bill is going up by 16%, and that's just the start of it. The other thing is Bethany Road is going to be closed from November 3rd through Friday, November 11th for grade crossing installation by New Jersey Transit. Please follow the posted detours.
Good.
That's it, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Counselor, any updates?
I don't have any updates, Mayor, but happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Engineer, any updates?
Yeah, I do have one thing for you. I wanted to inform the committee that CME Associates had entered the Holmdel Fire Department project for a Project of the Year award for the New Jersey Society of Municipal Engineers. I'm happy to report that the project won second place, which is a nice thing, and I will be inviting the Township Committee to attend the luncheon, which is at the same time as the League of Municipalities. So anybody in the Township Committee that wants to attend, or anybody that you think is appropriate to attend, we're very pleased about the award. It's a great project, and I just wanted to let you know that.
It's a great award. There'll be a lot of engineering speeches, I'm guessing, at the luncheon.
It could go on a little bit. I
Okay,
would caution
okay.
you, but it is a nice thing to accept the award.
Oh,
So
it's
I would encourage you to
outstanding.
be there anyway.
It's a great accomplishment. I appreciate you taking the initiative to submit it and to get it. It's a great building, and we've got nothing but great feedback from the firemen, multiple other towns' firemen. So it's you guys did a great job working with that. Thank you. Boards and committees. Start to my far left. Committeeman Foster, any updates?
I apologize. I printed this out earlier before our executive, and it's the print's kind of small, but happy to report as public safety liaison. I need those. No, I haven't tried them yet. Next meeting. The red, white, and blue line was installed today. I just want to commend Rocco on a great idea to incorporate all of our first responders on a really nice initiative. And just seeing them put it down, I thought it was a great location, and very, very nice to see them out there putting it in place. I met with Chief Alaco on the 13th. We currently have 42 officers on staff in town. We're looking for one more. Our recent hires are working out extremely well with their field training program and should be on their own very soon. We beefed up our staffing during the most troubling hours due to the thefts, as I'm sure everybody's heard about. And we've actually had some really good progress with the decline in activity lately. We are celebrating the promoted officers on the November 17th, which will be nice to recognize them. And then a couple of awards we received. The Holmdel Township and our Traffic Safety Unit has received the gold level recognition for the New Jersey Safe Routes to School Award. Patrolman Minoski and a few other members in town had a big part of this. And hopefully we can parlay this into some grants potentially. 3 officers attended the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu week-long Level 1 Instructor Certificate. Lieutenant Philhauer, Sergeant Sigismond, and Patrolman O'Keefe are all now certified to train our force, which is nice that we have them on our staff to help with that. And I just wanted to point out, just to note, the car theft and the subsequent issue yesterday was unrelated to the ring of car thefts that we've had lately. Not a good thing at all, obviously, but just unrelated. So I just wanted to relay that. I also met with Fire Chief Hernando during the Holmdel open house, which we just brought up, the beautiful new facilities we have over there. Chief said the group is indeed very excited about the new facilities. They're always looking for new volunteers. You can now sign up as young as 14, which I myself was not aware of. My oldest son just turned 14. So hopefully we can get some of our young residents in town interested in some training and some knowledge, which is always nice. You won't be fighting any fires until the age of 18, so they will be safe, and they'll just be learning, which is nice. They do some Wednesday night weekly trainings, usually on a different topic each week, which is also a good thing that the guys are involved in training our members and our young volunteers as well. Also spoke with Chris Giussetta from EMS. We have not had a chance to sit down yet, but I facilitated him in speaking with some people from the Board of Ed, which Chris relayed to me that he had an excellent conversation with Superintendent Cascone about some different topics that I'm excited to hear more about in the future. We currently have 65 members there and 27 cadets, which is, to me, an outstanding number of cadets. Chris says pretty much 27 to 30 is what they can pretty much handle without having any kind of scheduling issues, so it's nice to see that they have that many young and engaged volunteers being part of that. Just some other general safety, public safety updates. I'm looking into our code red alert service to see how we might be able to tweak it to provide a little more transparency and possibly additional notifications about other issues that are in town that are not currently being sent out. And then if I could just comment on something unrelated to public service. I attended the Francis Foundation gala 2 weeks ago, which was the 18th annual. And if anybody's not familiar with that, it's Bob Hugel in town does a fantastic job with this foundation, which he started in 2004 for pediatric cancer. It's a phenomenal night of highs and lows as he goes through basically what these kids have gone through through their illnesses, and he set up this foundation as a remembrance of his mother who passed away from cancer in 2000. And it's nice that we have a community guy like this involved with this kind of program. They're always looking for volunteers, people to assist, or even just to go and be a part of it and see exactly what's going on. It really is a roller coaster night of emotion, both highs and lows. And I commend Bob on an amazing job. And just kind of what Mayor said about the great people we have in this town. Bob is certainly one of them, and we're blessed that we have so many. So thank you, and I'm sorry my report was so long, but it was my first one as being public safety liaison, so I just wanted to try to hit all the bases.
Thank you. Committeeman Provoduto?
Thank you, Mayor. For community development, the township planner is now assisting with the planning board. As we announced at a previous meeting, longtime planning board secretary Bonnie Impasamato retired at the end of the summer. So Kate Keller, our township's planner, has graciously offered to assist with the planning board while community development department conducts a search for a permanent replacement. We're also continually optimizing the department, updating our web pages, and the construction management software SDL is now hosted offsite, which decreases the taxing infrastructure on our internal hardware here at Town Hall. And just to follow up on Brian's note on the red, white, and blue line, I do want to thank Victor Stevens and the Department of Public Works for turning that around. And I want to thank our fellow committee people for joining and voting in favor of that to make sure that we can effectively, symbolically honor all of our brave men and women that serve our community in fire, police, and EMS. I think expanding that symbolic gesture is really important. The Holmdel Heritage Committee now has a full roster, I believe. Very proud to say. So all the seats are filled. Chairwoman Chung Yin has worked with the TC to identify a board that reflects and honors the diversity of the people living in Holmdel. The new members have ancestry hailing from Africa, the Middle East, Egypt, India, Italy, woohoo, Taiwan, and the Ukraine. So congratulations to the newest committee members. I can't wait to meet them all. Thank you so much for your work in getting that up and running. So a lot of really good stuff happening on that front, I'm sure. And then there's no update on the Board of Education or my meetings with the Board of Education. The next one will be early December.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Last Saturday, the 15th, I had the privilege of attending a ceremony at the Holmdel Cemetery that was hosted by the Daughters of the American Revolutionary War. And that organization, what we did is what they were doing, and I assisted in it and acted as a representative of Holmdel Township, and it was a real honor. And what we did is they cleaned and installed new grave markers at the grave sites of two Revolutionary War heroes that are buried in Holmdel Cemetery. And during the ceremony, we learned about their service and their honor and their memory. So it was actually really interesting. I'm glad I went. And they actually had me unveil, they had them covered and they unveiled the new marker, and it's like a real solemn ceremony, but very patriotic, and it was a real nice experience to be part of that. Some things that are happening in town. We had our senior Halloween luncheon, which was a great success. It was past Tuesday at the rec department. Hosted the annual Halloween luncheon for senior residents. It was over 100 seniors enjoyed lunch, a costume contest, and games. We have our trick-or-treating at Bayonet Farm tomorrow from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. This event is completely sold out. We want to thank everyone and all the families who have registered for this fun event. With the Public Works Department, we have a paper shredding event on November 19th at the Department of Public Works building here on Crawfords Road. JCP&L will be trimming trees, so it's a notification that beginning on October 31st, JCP&L will be conducting tree trimming activity in the areas of Crawfords Corner Road and Roberts Road, and this program will help ensure clearance between electrical wires and trees. Quick update on the dog park. The paving project at the Alexander Ching Park has been completed. And that work consisted of paving existing gravel lot to make it easier for our residents to park, and there's added additional spaces for parking. The creation of a new entrance off of Middletown Road to provide easier access for exiting the dog park. And that's all I have for you, Mayor. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. A couple quick updates. This Saturday, Holmdel Township is hosting a free rabies clinic for pets at the Senior Center, Community Center right here next to Town Hall. It'll go from 8 a.m. till 10 a.m. It's open to all residents of Holmdel and Monmouth County, and there's additional information on our website as well as some social media channels that we use to send that information. Election Day will take place before our next Township Committee meeting. Reminder, Election Day is Tuesday, November 8th. Registered voters have 3 ways to vote. In person on Election Day, polls will be open from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. At your assigned polling location, you could vote by mail. These ballots must be requested from the Monmouth County Clerk no later than November 1st, so you still have a couple days if you want to vote by mail. And early voting at one of the 10 early voting locations spread across Monmouth County start this Saturday. For more information, you could visit monmouthcountyvotes.com. Reminder, if you vote at an early voting location or if you vote by mail, you cannot vote on Election Day. Reminder, Veterans Day ceremony will take place on Friday, November 11th at 10:30 at Veterans Park, which is Phillips Park at 100 Telegraph Hill Road. Several community groups from around Holmdel will present wreaths in front of the Holmdel Township's Memorial Wall. The Holmdel Township Police Department Honor Guard will also be on hand to present the colors. And our next Veterans Roundtable, I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, is going to take place a week from today, Thursday, November 3rd, where we're taking our veterans on a tour behind the gates of Naval Weapons Station Earl in Colts Neck. So we're going to meet the veterans here on a bus. We're going to bus them over, to the base, and then the veterans are going to get a tour behind the scenes, seeing some of the things that go on in there. It's a very active military operation there, and everybody that is going had to have their paperwork in for DOD clearance by, I think it was Barbara this past Monday, to be cleared for the trip on Thursday. So very excited about, a lot of the veterans excited, especially the Navy guys who've never been on the base are very excited about coming on. So looking forward to that, and we'll have more information shared at our next meeting when we're back here at the end of November. With that being it, I will open up for any public comment. Wendy, you want to read your public comment statement?
In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is a public comment period for public comment on any governmental issue of public concern. In accordance with Resolution 2022-17, public commenters are asked to raise their hand and wait to be recognized by the mayor before coming forward and making public comments. Commenters are asked to state their full name and addresses before commenting. Public commenters are limited to one comment not to exceed 3 minutes. Comments should be directed to the mayor and township committee. If appropriate, the mayor may direct and recognize a staff employee or a professional to respond to comments either at this meeting or in writing after this meeting.
Thank you. Anybody from the public? Yes, ma'am.
Mary Ellen Principi, 62 Bethany Road. I just wanted to know why the new red, white, and blue is not on the road right out here, and it's hidden on the way into the PNC Art Center. Number two is the special meeting that you had. Mr. Collins, you said that the meeting had to be canceled because there was only 2 people here, and that wasn't a quorum. Then at the next meeting, when the mayor wasn't here, but our 2 committee men were here, then it was okay for the quorum. Which is it? And don't we have to follow the Roberts rule? And then the third thing, is there any updates on the poor administrative job? He's doing everybody's work, and I feel bad for him. So I just wanted to know if there was anything going on with that.
Did Bill pay you to say that?
No, he didn't.
Okay,
Matter of fact,
okay.
I'm here tonight, not being paid, so you guys should show up, missing my grandson's baseball game.
Mike, you want to cover the first?
The first was the line.
Oh, for the line. You want to cover the line?
Yeah, you know, it just came up in discussion that putting it between the fire and the EMS, which is also a very heavily traveled road between the Veterans Memorial, the commuter traffic, the traffic to the parkway, et cetera, was actually where actually more people from other towns and within the county specifically could see and experience it. It came up in conversation there where it's like, okay, it felt like a really good spot to sort of pull it all in together. We thought it'd actually get more increased and broader exposure for what we were doing. So the intent certainly wasn't in any way, shape, or form to hide it. I actually think it stands out quite a bit.
Yeah, I noticed, and I know our blue line is fading because we painted that in 2016, I think the fall of 2016, so it's probably just 6 years old now. And maybe that should be addressed at a future meeting as well. Counselor?
Sure. On the meeting scheduling, look, we strive to not inconvenience the public in any way with the meeting scheduling. At the same time, the committee has, you know, each individual committee member has their own personal and work obligations, and so, you know, there's always schedules that need to be adjusted. In this case, you know, the clerk takes the lead in polling the individual committee members to find a date that works, and a majority of the committee indicated that Tuesday wasn't going to work, but that Thursday seemed to work for everyone, so we followed the law and noticed the meeting at least 48 hours in advance, and given the amount of people here tonight, it seems that the word got out appropriately. So that's the process, and you know, there wasn't any different treatment for this meeting versus any other meeting.
Oh, yeah, the 2 is a quorum, I think.
Okay, yeah, so under state law, a quorum is established as a majority of the committee, and the committee is defined under case law as the 5 members less any vacancies. So if you, so a majority of either 4 or 5 is 3. But when you get down to 3 members, a majority of the number 3 is 2. So that's what happened in that instance. When we had 3 members, a quorum became 2, and now that we're back to 4 members, a quorum is again 3. Well, there were 2 different quorum requirements that were applicable between those meetings because Committeeman Santana had resigned after the meeting in which there was not a quorum because there were 2 members. So it had nothing to do with us canceling the meeting. It had to do with the committeeman resigning later that day, which changed the quorum requirement.
And even if there's township ordinance, it's superseded by state, correct?
Correct. To be exact, I believe it's 40A 63-3G, because I had to spend my time looking at it. But that is the statute, and that governs. State statute would govern.
Thank you, Counselor. That's everything, right? That was everything?
There's a third.
Administrator. We are, I would say, very close. Would you guys?
Closer.
We have, we're in a process where I think we have qualified candidates who could definitely come in and do the job. As the council just said, I need a majority of people to agree to one. So with 4, I need 3 people to agree on at least one of the individuals. We've been going through this for months, probably since, Bill, March, yeah. So I'm hopeful that we get this resolved quickly because we need it. This town has a lot of activity going on. CFO is an extremely important job that requires a lot of work. The business administrator, they're both easily 40-hour-a-week jobs. It's hard for the CFO to do 2 40-hour-a-week jobs. So it really, decision needs to be made one way or another. Like, we got candidates out there, we need to pick somebody and bring them in and, let them start running the town because we need it. There's things that we're missing because we don't have an administrator. So it's clearly on my radar as being kind of a top priority in kind of getting this thing done. And it was one of our discussions in executive session, which one of the reasons why we delayed coming down here. So thank you for your comments. Anybody else from the public? Just in the back? No, the guy in the back. Your hand was quick, so I figured I got it.
Steve Draymond, 26 Hawthorne Avenue.
Steve, you can hold the mic if you want, if it's easier.
My back will give out if
Yeah.
I don't do it anymore. I want to speak tonight and ask the town council in doing research and presenting its findings on paying 4 of the existing volunteer firefighters in Holmdel to staff one engine out of the firehouse here at the centrally located part of town that's already equipped to do so in 12-hour shifts starting at 6 a.m. If you do that, you're going to have 4 guys in the firehouse already. Increase your response times. I did my own math on it, but I'm no mathematician or business person. So it'll probably end up costing you guys $800,000. You could do it on a part-time basis on a 1099. I just wanted to put that out there, see if you guys want to do the research on it, come back with your findings. 4 people on the one engine here. And it's good because if there are other people hanging out, you already have the 4 people supplemented there. And that's, say 2 more people come to hang out, that's 2 more people that you have on that engine right away on top of 4. Instead of 2 waiting for 3, you have 4 waiting, 4 and 2 and 6 going out the door right away. You can do it on a 1099 basis if you want. Just do me a favor and start your wheels turning on seeing if that's a liable option or not. Thank you.
Thank you. So
When you're done.
okay. So we had a fairly extensive report done by Dr. Carter. It's on our website. The prior committee that was up here with me tossed that around previously, and they felt that his plan was adequate in order to get the location needed for the center of town and to attract the volunteers they needed. I met with him multiple times. He did not feel that that was adequate, but times change, right? So there's
I get it, and you guys did a great job doing all that. We're very proud of this township council for doing that. Just wanted to put it out there, see if maybe we could look into again seeing what goes on.
Yeah. So our liaison, that's one thing that we could certainly look into. I mean, having conversations with listen, it's a balancing act, right? It's no secret that we have an amazing group of volunteers,
Yeah, I know.
And it's, we gotta walk a very tight line, because I don't want them not to be engaged in the work that they're doing right now in the community with supplementing. So it's gonna be I've been down this road for years. It's a, not saying it's impossible, but it's gotta be something handled very carefully in order to,
And if we were to do it, should be coming from our current volunteers, you know? Think about it, the kid gets paid to sit there at the firehouse and train and clean and everything else like that. They don't have to go to ShopRite for their part-time job. They can sit here and be a fireman in Holmdel instead.
yeah, and one of the things that Chief Trichette did, the first aid squad, was he put in workstations to get people, like some of his students, to do their homework or their schoolwork there at the station, right? So they get their workstation going unit, which I think was a great idea. So they're there, right? So when they come out of there, they're literally, okay, shut my computer, jump in the truck, and I'm gone. Great concept, trying to do things like that, I think are positive for the community.
You have 60 cadets, that works too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't have that.
Yeah, we're working on it, but that's certainly a conversation I want to keep our CFO in, because I'll be people have, it's not related, but it's related. Is the state has changed some of the state benefit health plans. You may have read it in the papers or heard it on the news, where they're changing the cost structure, and the state is not for state employees but for township employees, and dumping on the town. So the town, the CFO, is being hit with a significant increase in healthcare costs going into next year, as well as we got a email or a letter today or yesterday from the pension.
Got the pension bills, yeah.
And they're going up.
16 and 20% respectively.
You wouldn't have to pay them a pension.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying there's a lot of, when we're making a decision on spending any taxpayer money, there's a lot of costs, other costs that this I want the CFO involved with with the liaison, to make sure that we could do it and do it without having a negative
I'm
impact.
not saying I'm not saying I'm pressuring for it. I'm just saying look into it, see
Oh,
what your options are.
100%, I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question also. So, one of the comments you made, and I'm trying to learn more about this, the estimate that you came up with, because one of the reports that I read, I think it was where it's only staffed during the day. It's like a 10-hour shift, like 6 to 4, 4 on, 3 off, 4 on, like, is what, like, where you're coming up with these numbers, or at least what you're thinking, is that a day and night shift, or
That
is it
a 24-hour
24-hour shift?
24-hour.
Okay.
4 firefighters.
Okay.
1 engine.
Gotcha. Okay, that's, yeah, because I think that's much more important, because when I initially read the report that I read, I'm saying, most fires are not during the day, right? They're usually
Fires
in the
occur
evening,
anytime.
at the night, correct, but I'm just saying,
Doesn't matter.
to have a paid fire and then still have to need volunteers
You would
at the
still-
most desirable, at the least desirable hours is still, it's still a challenge, right?
Yeah, totally. So the issue that you may see with it, right? And I'm not advocating extremely for it. I just want the town council to get it in their heads to look into it, right? If you decide to do that, right, the key is you don't you ask your current volunteers, right?
Absolutely.
So you give them the opportunity to staff, even if they were staffing anyway. Their choice to go home, may be hindered if they know they're going to be there for a 12-hour hanging out, like, not necessarily just hanging out, but they're there doing everything they normally do, but now they're guaranteed to be there, right? The word is guarantee, right? Again, not looking for anybody to go paid fully. No, that's not the goal here.
Yeah.
Right, the goal is to stimulate your current volunteership to get their very best, so you guys get your very, very, very best out of them.
Yeah, and I agree, and I appreciate you coming here, because I think we're at the point now in this town where we have the best equipment, we have an exceptional facility, we have the infrastructure. Now it's time to focus on
You need bodies,
and how we can really make this work
not just bodies.
best
you
for
need-
the community.
You need good firemen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Steve, just curious, how long have you been involved? And thank you very much for volunteering with town, but how long have you been involved, just out of curiosity, man?
I've been a fireman since 2004, from Holmdel Township, from 2004 to 2016, until I moved here.
Thank you very much, man. I mean, volunteers in this community are precious, and we don't have enough, as you mentioned, and thank you guys for coming down and speaking, and we'll definitely look into these things.
They're doing a great job with trying to find as many as they can, don't get me wrong. But, just wanted to put the idea out there as a resident, right? I don't represent my department right now. I'm coming to you guys, as a resident of the north side of Holmdel, just trying to put my 2 cents out there. Thank you.
So, let me just also add, I expedited or escalated the ISO rating to try to get that moving.
Yeah, no, you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
No, but-
anything like that.
But what you're saying may couple with that and also enhance that once we start getting some feedback
Yeah,
from this,
I totally
right,
understand.
rating group to see kind of where we're at. And I know we're gonna improve based on what I'm being told.
No, yeah,
But how much more could I potentially improve with doing other things?
We're doing other things?
Like what you said?
Well, you know, the department, I'm not trying to speak on behalf of anybody. So, our department I'm gonna say this, right? When I joined the Holmdel Fire Department, I came from a township that is just as big as Holmdel, has the same amount of occupancy during the day, and the same amount of occupancy during at night, the same types of business structures that occupy Holmdel, right? Nobody's got Bellworks, so you got me there, right? So, but we did have a 25-story high-rise. You know, we had all the same things. And my old department had 5 firehouses and 200 guys, 25 pieces of apparatus. When I came to Holmdel, it was an engine, a ladder, and 15 dudes. Imagine that culture shock, right? Since I have joined under the leadership of our 2 chiefs, they have done the very best job in growing our department, expanding our horizons operationally, and you could not have 2 better guys at the top of your list, right? But they can only do so much with the amount of volunteers. We're trying very hard to get more, and we are getting more, right? But, like you said, your ISO rating is coming up. You are, you know, I've been personally kicking this can down the road for a long time, right? I pitched the incentive program for years, not just to my department. My department formally pitched it to everybody, and it's cool. I understand how things work, and we're doing a very good job. The engine gets out the door, rickety split. We're doing a great job. You guys are doing a great job. The only thing I humbly ask is that we look into other steps, not that we need to take them, but look at your options. That is all I'm asking. Thank you very much for all
Thanks,
that you
Steve.
do. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Ron, I'm a 32 Ladwood Drive. I could not agree more with Steve, because that was going to be my first question, and he took some of my air out of my balloon, because I asked last meeting, for exactly what he's proposing, which is a hybrid fire department and giving the current members the right of first refusal to hire them. Clearly, that is, people are talking about that. They want it, and I'm just happy that you all seem to be in agreement. The pushback, it used to be that the volunteers would leave if we had a paid fire or hybrid system. Clearly, you heard tonight that's not the case. So I am thrilled that we have potentially volunteer firemen buy-in on it, which will obviously make your guys' decision a little bit easier. On a related note, Mr. Foster, in one of your during your updates, I didn't hear anything on the investigation of the fire on Barbera. I was wondering if you've had any meetings, who have they been with, and what's the status of that? Because obviously, again, people are very, very interested. Thank you.
Well, all I was going to say with that is that actually started taking place before I was appointed and put on the position, so I'm going to let DJ handle that.
Thank you. We do have a report. It's not a report. It's more of a, we'll call it an internal inquiry on the specific response to the fire at Barbera. I just received it, sent it to Bill and to our council, just to make sure, because I don't know if this goes public or whatever. So we do have it. As soon as I get direction from council, if this can be given to you directly or to residents or be put on the website, whatever it is.
Is that a legal thing that who decides whether that
I don't
report's going to
know.
be
Yeah.
public or not? That's
As the committee deputy mayor said, we just got it today, so I haven't had a chance to closely review it to see if there's anything that needs to be held back as confidential. If not, we'll make as much information available as we can.
Yeah, because the one thing it's not is it's an official report. That can only be done by our county fire officials. Again, this is more of just like it's spun off of Prakash's questions, and so yeah. So again, we got it today. It's complete, and as soon as Mike gets to look at it and say, yeah, this is public or whatever it is, fine with me.
do you think we'll whether it's public or not? That's fine. Do you think you'll have an answer on that by next meeting?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
You know what, Ron? If it's sooner,
Yeah, that's
I'll
great.
email you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Do you want anything you want to add? Okay. Public, yes. You look like you want to add something.
J&L 18 Ladwood Drive. I've been on this ISO thing for a while when my rates went up a long time ago, a lot, and still are high. I just would encourage everyone, Mayor, that when you get guidance from this organization, you clearly detail it to the public. How can we get back to the level we were at, or even better, what it needs, what we need? Does the water company have to do something? Their rates have been going through the roof for a decade. Do they need to put new fire hydrants, better pressure? What exactly we need to do and what amount we need to spend going forward to get to that, or if not a better rating? Because as it's been said many times, it's a massive tax on this community, and most people don't even realize it. Thank you.
No, thank you. On a subsequent note, they had a grand opening of the new water facility over on Swimming River Road in Colts Neck, and they talked about enhancing it and their work with the towns and the fire hydrants, et cetera, et cetera. So water companies engaged. They're spent a lot of money in upgrade their infrastructure over there, and a lot of safety features they put in. It was actually pretty interesting. I thought it was going to be an hour. I wound up being there over 2 hours with the tour because the facility is much larger than I thought it was going to be. But the administrator and I have spoke many times, and our plan is to try to get as much information from ISO when we get our rating as to what areas we did well in, maybe other areas we need to improve in, so we could focus on it, because we've never really had that information to understand, even though we have a lot of good partnerships and mutual aid agreements with surrounding towns, as well as Naval Weapons Station Earl, right, which is on-site military that will come to Holmdel for any house structure at any given time. 7 days a week they're at our there to support us. So we have we put a lot of things in place, but there's always room for improvement. So we'll look at other options as well. Anybody else in the public? Yes.
Legs are getting stiff. I was sitting doing a Ron Principi, 62 Bethany Road, Holmdel, obviously. Listen, I still can't get past this, excuse me, this quorum thing, this two thing, and the appointment of Mr. Forster. And I just have a couple of questions. One being, Mr. Forster is on the ballot, okay? We have two independents that actually resigned, and Mr. Forster, you're on the Republican side, correct? That's correct. Okay. So we had two independents that resigned, and you guys appointed a Republican, which I don't know any of the candidates, so I'm just kind of like spitballing here. So I made a comment that I felt it might be legal, but it was unethical, what was done. And Mr. Forster, being on the ballot, do you feel that you didn't get a leg up, or you feel that this is ethical, that you're on the board, appointed to the board, and running for the position that you're sitting in right now? Meanwhile, you have somebody else running against you. Do you think that's right? Do you think that's ethical? I mean, I'm again, we don't know each other. Absolutely. And this sparked, I seen you coming out of Bagel Boys this morning. That's what sparked this. That's it. And I was like, no, you better shop there, or otherwise we'll get a big problem. I'll be here every week, but every 2 weeks. But anyhow, I don't get it. you got 3 people, 4 people, whatever, running. You have 4 people running. You get appointed to the board. Now, the 2 people that resigned, they were independents. Now, I understand the lawyer's going to jump in and tell me that the Republicans can appoint because independent is an independent, it's unaffiliated. But where does the line get drawn on fairness? Where does the line get drawn on ethics? I can't get this, I can't settle this in my head. And, you know, I've been around the block a couple of times, and from what I seen took place, I still don't think it's ethical. I still don't think it's right. And if you had 2 independents, why weren't they in the running? You guys could tell me that. Why weren't they picked? I just can't get past this. I'm not picking on you. I'm not going after you. But the bottom line is, something wasn't done right here. And, you know, something's got to be fixed here. Because we can't just pick and choose who we feel like picking and choosing.
Actually, we could.
Well, you think that's ethical? Do you really think that's right? Do you think that's the right answer?
I actually, we had an opportunity to choose anyone from this community.
Okay.
We chose Brian because of his qualifications.
Okay.
And you might not agree with that, and I respect your opinion, but I don't think we broke any ethics, and I don't think there was any question about ethics in there. And we chose Brian because of his qualifications, and we thought he was the best candidate to put there. And that's really it. I don't know what else to say.
Did you interview the other candidates?
No,
Okay, then how do you know he was the best candidate?
because I know Brian, and
Then why didn't you take the time to know the other people?
because I wanted Brian.
So in other words, what you want is what we're gonna get, not what the,
What we thought was best.
not what the,
what we
not what the
thought
town
was-
wants.
What we thought was best is who we choose.
Okay, again, did you interview the other candidates?
No,
Okay, so how do you know he's the best?
that was my opinion at the time, our
Well,
opinion at the time.
in the future, I'd appreciate it if, you know, before you make an opinion,
Well,
you know,
I would
look into
appreciate
everybody.
people who run for office don't leave in the middle of their term.
we're not
So-
talking about the people
Well,
that
we are,
left.
because that was the position we were put in.
But we're still not talking about the people that left. We're talking about the people,
No.
the person that was appointed into a position that was previously,
It was a decision we had to make, and we felt like we made the right decision.
okay, but again, it wasn't a decision that was made properly and ethically.
That to your opinion. That's your
Okay, do
opinion,
you
sir.
feel that was unethical?
100%.
Mr. Forster, do you feel that was ethical?
Absolutely, Ron. And first and foremost, thank you very much for coming to these meetings, being part of town, because it is critical that we have these discussions. That's my opinion, first and foremost.
Well, my
So-
job is to challenge you.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping you're going to let me finish, at least getting
Yeah.
out a few seconds before you interrupt me. So I've been in town a little over 10 years, right? So I'm running for town committee because I love this town. I care about this town. The day I moved into town, I looked into signing up to be a volunteer in different areas. I looked at fire and I looked at EMS. I ultimately decided EMS with a little push from my wife. She was a little happier if I went that direction. I spent 7 years on there, driving the Monday night shift and then the alternating Saturdays, giving back to town. We had 2 newborns throughout this course. And then I was asked to be on the planning board, where I served 5 years on the planning board as well. And then I ran for the Board of Ed. I won that election. It was 4 people running for 3 spots, won that seat, and I served there for 3 years. So if you want to bring up qualifications and ethics, I think I've served this town humbly, and
Well, I
I've
didn't-
put.
I
I'm-
didn't bring
Ron,
up
please, Ron,
qualifications.
please let me finish. I didn't
ahead.
say a word while you were speaking. I think I've served this town humbly and ethically in everything that I've done, and everything that I've done for this town, I've not taken a nickel, and I've worked for the best interest of this town. I was asked about being put on this committee, and you know what I said? 100% I want to sit down and help this town move forward as soon as possible.
Yeah, but the one question I had was, you being running on the ballot and being appointed to the seat, do you think that was proper?
100% yes, because I believe I am more than qualified for the position I'm sitting in right now. That is your answer. 100%
And
yes.
I'm not basing it on qualifications.
Well, that's your opinion.
Okay, and you got yours. So basically, you have no problem with ethically or
If
morally.
I had a question or I had a problem with it, Ron, I wouldn't be sitting up here. I wouldn't have accepted the appointment. I would have said no.
Thank
I
you.
believe I'm here to do my best for town. No, I don't believe it. I know it. And that's
I
what
don't
I'm
doubt
doing.
that. I don't doubt that. What I'm doubting is how it was done and there were other people involved.
For that, you got to speak to the attorney. I mean, I know this has come up a couple times, and we went through all the legal channels to do it. I can't speak to that. All I can speak to is that I'm flattered to be here, and I promise to serve this town. And I hope to win the election November 8th, continue to serve this town, because I care about the town, and I think my record's proven that.
Well, I didn't question your record, and I
Thank-
didn't ask for your resume.
Thank you.
The bottom line is, I just want to know
Yeah,
why it
that's
was done
Go-
that way
yeah.
it was.
That's it. Thank you. Yep.
Just on the ethics point, if there was any issue of an ethics issue, it would be governed by the local government ethics law. There's no ethical impediment to committee members appointing to a vacancy. And as I've mentioned at past meetings, the municipal vacancies law is structured in a way where it vests the power to appoint to a vacancy to the remaining members of the governing body. And the gist of the law is essentially giving the people who have already been elected the discretion to pick someone in their judgment to fill a vacant seat, so that governing bodies have members rather than leaving the remaining people to have an outsized influence and to make decisions. So that's the discretion that they're afforded under state law. That's the discretion they utilized. I would wholeheartedly push back at any allegation that there's any ethical issue that's been raised. I haven't even heard any that, I could even think to offer my thoughts on. But, people could have different opinions about the action. But in terms of ethics, there's no ethical issue that's been presented.
Anybody else from the public? Yes.
Brian, for
Just state,
many
just-
years
just state your name and address for the
and
record.
very ethical and great choice. Patrick Trishetta, 56 Line Road. Holmdel has a population of 17,400 people, where over 20% are 62 years and older. Okay. Holmdel's 3,500 seniors pay significant portion of the property taxes for the Holmdel schools, for the police, and the township services. I want to thank the Holmdel Township Recreation for their excellent programs and their excellent luncheons for all of Holmdel residents. However, I'm up here to make a request of the Holmdel Recreation that they continue to have these programs and luncheons, but make them separate and independent from other Holmdel groups and clubs, as it's unconstitutional and inappropriate for these clubs to bring religion into a function that is required to be secular. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat.
You're rec. Okay, you'll talk to Bob. So, let me try to interpret. So, we're running township paid for and sponsored events, but groups, private groups, are quasi-running them and having their own meetings while township events are going on.
Okay, I'm unaware of that, but I'll look into it.
Okay. All right. Thank you for bringing
I
that.
understand. I didn't understand exactly.
These other groups are wonderful groups, and they have the right to use the senior center.
I got it. Okay.
They do great work, but they're separate from the recreation department, and those meetings should be free of religion and prayer and so on, because those things need to be secular. Stay secular.
Thank you. I got it. Thank you. I know the mic isn't picking up, but you got that right. Okay. Anybody else in the public? Anybody else from the public? This is your chance, guys. Your next meeting's not until almost Thanksgiving. Is anybody back there? Come on, guys. You only get once. You only go up once. Is that it? No. I will. If that's it, I will close public portion. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.